Tape Deck Media.
My friend Dan, he's got a podcast, cause all comics need a podcast, and nobody had a podcast called The Art of Bombing. So Dan went out and bought a tape deck. Who knows why he bought a tape deck? Podcasts don't get played on tape decks, but Dan is from the 80s. So hey there, all you funny jerks, come talk to Dan about your work. Tell him all about your worst times. It's The Art of Bombing.
Welcome to the Art of Bombing presents Between Bombs Callbacks, where Larry and myself, Dan, will call back the most recent episode and reflect on the nuggets of insight that came from that episode. In this episode, we are calling back episode 307 with Morgan Gallo. And it was a great conversation. And I got to say, I was excited to have her. We were having some scheduling conflicts. I've been trying to get her for a while.
Well, and this was, I know I teased it last episode, but this is probably one of the top, I'm going to say top 3, if not top 5.
I would
episodes
put it up there.
This is, if you haven't listened to it, now's your chance. Go back, definitely listen to it.
Yep, definitely do that.
Because this is a tale. Like I'm listening, I listen to all the episodes and I'm sitting here and I make my notes. This is the first time I had to go back and re-listen because I was so into this.
Oh, you forgot to take notes?
I forgot to take notes because I'm sitting there and like, there's a couple times I had my hand on my heart for her. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, her story was incredible. Like that just is a nightmare of a situation to be bombing. But
yeah, well, because here's the thing. I've done, festivals and outdoor stuff where they bring us up. The guy that they have hosting has barely ever talked into a microphone.
Yep.
One guy introed me with, I don't even know what he's here to do, Larry Smith. And I was like, that's you and me both, Bubba. You and me both at this point. And the band is setting up behind us and like dropping instruments like, sorry, band. Oh, sorry. And I'm like, you're fine. It's okay. And like that just turned into a fun story. Like, and because it was that one in particular, I'd brought the kids because it was an outdoor, thing. And I was doing 10 minutes, maybe 15. I think I was doing 15. And and just the whole time I'm cracking up because of how ridiculous the whole situation is. And then like there's a stage behind us that the opposite show was a guy that cracks whips. So every time I drop a punchline, you hear ka-chow, and I'm just like, this is.
Oh, please tell me you just incorporated that in.
And
leaned into
I
that.
tried.
That's pretty funny.
I kept making mention of it, and the whole crowd is just dead-eyed, slack-jawed, just huh. And they couldn't even figure out why we were up there talking into a microphone. But the kids were pretty young and they just, every time I'd look at them, they'd look, all three, with thumbs up. Thumbs up. Like, you're doing great, Dad. And I'm like, that's
keep it up, Dad. Keep it up. You got this, Dad.
That was what was great. The oldest and the middle, my daughter, are like, they both come up and they're like, yeah, that was great. So glad we got to see you. And my youngest, who ended up being, the one that came with me to more shows and sat in the back of the comedy clubs, and he just looks up and he goes, rough day, huh, pal? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, you want a corn dog? Like, he's just like I lost the big game.
Oh, that's so funny. You want a corn dog?
Yeah. Let's go get a corn dog. That'll make this better.
Oh, that's amazing.
But like her situation, is way different. Because like for me, it was just this little, hey, you're gonna come do this. I was doing a favor for a buddy of mine, who he's like, I just need someone to take the bullet.
Yeah. And you're like,
and he goes,
okay.
And that's what he goes, I'm going to pay you a stupid amount of money. a stupid amount of money to do 15 minutes and take the bullet for me. And I was like, what
I'll
what
take the
stupid
stupid.
amount? And
Yeah,
he
what's the
told me, and I was like,
he
I'm
wrote it on a
there.
piece of paper and he slid it across the table.
It was, well, we were texting, and I was like, how stupid. And the ellipses kept popping up and going away, popping up and going away, popping up and going away. And then he just sends the figure, and I was like, yeah, I'm in. I'll do it twice for that much. I'll kiss you on the mouth in front of everybody if that's what it's going to take. But like, if you guys, you're familiar with the episode, she went and was like recruited for this,
Yeah, yep.
for
They
this
sought
big
her out.
and big women-centric festival. They sought her out. They then did everything they could to make her fail. Like it was, and the women-centric festival headlined by that famous all-female band Smash Mouth. When I think women empowerment, I think Smash Mouth.
Right?
Wow.
I'm gonna be an all-star.
Betrayed by Shrek.
All-star, baby.
All star. Um, hey now, you're gonna cry a lot in your dressing room, and they're gonna try and not get you paid. So like that whole thing where they are like, yeah, and she even asked, "Is my material okay?" Yeah, you're perfect. Just do your thing. And then she goes out there, and it was everything they could do.
Yeah.
And
To
that's the
me, it almost felt like they didn't really review her material.
no,
You know what I mean? Like sometimes that happens where, they want a tape, but they don't actually watch the tape.
yeah. Well, that was, I think we've all
The
faced that where you get hired and they're like, yeah, just do your thing. You're fine. And then you do your thing and they're like, I can't believe you did that. And I'm like, you told me to do my material. I did.
Yeah, right. And you were supposed to have seen this material before. That's what you told me you
Yeah.
wanted.
You hired me.
Yeah.
I didn't seek you out. Um, but yeah, just, it's it should have been the perfect situation. And she was supposed to be showcased. She was supposed to be in the spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
And instead, they shoved her out on stage with roadies changing
Yeah.
everything behind her. That happened to me also at a biker fest.
Oh, I've done a outdoor festival where there was
Oh yeah,
music as well, and that was the comedy was there for while they were, you had people changing out the bands behind you.
yeah, yep. And but that wasn't what was supposed to happen to her. Yet they're doing that, and
Yeah.
now the crowd is like yelling horrible things, and like the phrase that she used that we've talked about it a lot when we will talk about it again over and over on this podcast because it's so important. But I loved what she said, which was comedy is a delicate art form.
Mm-hmm.
It
It
really
is
because
very delicate.
it has to be if it doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be at least a good situation.
Yeah. Well, and there's so many in order to really to have like a good show, there's a lot of elements that are, outside elements that need to be take place. And sure, the comedy itself is an art form and you're performing an art, but there are things that like low light, spotlights, good sound, all the technical stuff that you
Yeah,
need for a good show. And having any one of them missing can be uh can derail it all
Y-
just altogether.
yeah. Well, and yeah, any element of it. Now you can make it work if the lighting's not perfect,
Yep.
but you have good sound.
Yep.
You can make that work because
Yep.
you've got their attention. But it also it can't you can't be distracted.
Yeah.
You can't and it's an outdoor festival. People are going to be distracted and it's unless it is specifically they're there for comedy
Yep.
and that's so
At the very least, you need to have an introduction and you need
right.
to tell the people, oh hey, now before our opening or before our headliner, we have a comedian or what, whatever. They should have did some kind of an announcement.
Yeah. Well, because again, they set her up for
Yep,
failure.
they did because it's about mindset. That's a lot of with comedy. Comedy is getting people. You have to be in the mindset for comedy. That's why when we talk about hijack comedy, that's why a lot of times that goes off the rails because people aren't expecting comedy, and if they're not expecting comedy, it becomes a nuisance. And even at comedy shows, like where people come for comedy, that's one of the main jobs of the host is to get the audience because they've been drinking, waiting for they come in before the show starts. They're ordering their drinks, they're ordering their food, they're talking with the people that they're there with, because the show hasn't started. They're having the conversations, whatever. And then the host, the show starts, and the host, that is their main job is to, hey guys, we're starting the show, get ready, it's time for you to be in the mindset of comedy. Here's the house etiquette, that's going to make the show better, yada yada yada, and then and then do their stuff. And then hopefully by the time they're done with their set and the feature comes out, the audience is primed and ready for comedy.
Well, and that's why it really is ideal to have host, feature,
Yep.
closer, headliner, whatever.
And at the very least, just a host.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like at least two people on a show.
Yeah, just somebody that goes up, takes the bullet, and goes, "Hi, here's a human behind a microphone that's going to be talking. Get used to this because for the next hour and 15 to hour and a half, this is what we're doing." And
Yep.
that's again ideally, and that's what she did. She did everything right. She asked all the right questions. She did all the right things as the comic. What is there material I should or shouldn't do? Is there this? Is there that? She asked everything. They told her, they gave her all the answers that she supposedly needed. She did everything right, and yet everything went wrong.
Yep.
To the point where they didn't want to pay her. And no, if you go up and you do your time, or even if they cut you off, you get paid. You get paid. That's how
absolutely.
Yeah. And always get paid.
Always get paid. Yes.
If you've been promised pay, you get your pay.
Yep. Especially if you go up there and do the job, now obviously don't go up and try to do a terrible job on purpose, but sometimes there's things out of your control. And when that happens, you still better get paid. If there was money being offered, you need to get that, which that brings that's a good segue into another topic we want to talk about, and that's learning to say no. It is okay to say no. I found when I realized that there's more power in saying no to a show than just saying yes to everything. Obviously, when you first start out comedy, you're saying yes to everything because you're trying to get as much stage time as possible. But when you start doing more and more paid shows, it's okay to admit, and I've talked about this a lot too on the podcast, it's okay to admit you're not the right person for a show and say no. And maybe you could, make a good impression and say, hey, I don't think I'm a right fit, but I know this other comedian who would be perfect for this. And then you recommend somebody, and then they're going to be thankful to you. And down the road, they'll probably end up repaying that favor in somehow, whether they, help you get a show or put you on one of their shows or recommend you for a show like you did them or whatever, it kind of all, it's like paying it forward.
Yeah. And I've over the past year have said no to stuff that I knew was not a good fit for me anymore. There's as you, especially not for nothing, I've done church shows.
Yeah.
They pay well. A friend of mine needed an opener. He's like, I just need you to do 20 minutes, 25 squeaky clean. And I'm like, I can do that. I got 25 that I can redo to make squeaky clean. I said, it's not going to be as sharp, but it'll work. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. And it always works. And I've had people reach out and be like, hey, we want you to come back and headline. And I'm like, no, you don't. I
You
Because
saw all my squeaky clean material.
yeah, I could do it twice. I could do it twice, and you're almost going to get an hour. But it would be the same stories twice. You're not going to enjoy it. But yeah, it's knowing, or like just there's been certain just types of shows, or somebody's reached out and been like, hey,
Oh yeah, like a theme show.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, they've seen me, they really like me, they want me on the show, and I'm like, I don't think I am a. I made I was on a hip hop and comedy show. I'm the last I'm not. When you think hip hop, Larry Smith is not the guy you think of. But I did it.
I
I did it.
mean, I mean, I could see, you coming from a trap house.
Yeah, yeah, that's me. Look,
Trap House Larry.
old trap house Smitty.
Larry the Trap House Smith.
That's that's my new persona now. And you know what? It's gonna make me millions of dollars. It's
Just remember who gave you the name.
oh yeah, yeah. I'll bring you along.
I better get a kickback.
Yeah, I'll bring you along to open for me for old.
Hey, I'll
old
take it. Do I have to? I'll have to change. I'll have to add something to my name too.
Larry the Trap House guy. There it is. But yeah, like I did this show twice, and the second time I'm like, I just looked at the guy. I was like, I appreciate you doing this. I am not the right fit for this show. And he's like, what? They loved you. I said, the 5 people that paid attention to me when I went up, yeah, enjoyed what I did. I said, but I didn't. I just did crowd work
Yeah,
because they had
yeah.
us going up between
The
sets,
artist, yeah, between the sets, yeah. Yeah.
and I was like, yeah, I did crowd work for 15 minutes, and it worked pretty well for a minute. And then there were people that I tried to do crowd work with, and they just look at me like, why are you talking at me? And I'm like,
That's always the best.
all right, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah.
You,
Have you
I interrupted your conversation.
Are there shows that you like? Well, obviously, you just said a couple shows that you've done that you won't do again just because you don't think you're a right fit. But I like a specific type of show, especially for me, corporate wise. I post proms. Anytime I get an inquiry about a post prom, it's an automatic no for me.
Yeah.
And it's not that I've never done it before. I have done a post prom before. I did it as a favor to an old classmate for one of her kids' proms at their school, and I and there was also going to be a hypnotist, so essentially I opened for a hypnotist. But I realized in that moment, I was like, these 16, 17, 18-year-old kids don't want to hear about a middle-aged man's divorce. You know what I mean? Like,
No.
there's nothing relatable there. And I anytime now I get an inquiry, excuse me, anytime I get an inquiry for a post pro, it's just an automatic no.
Yeah. I've done them because I think you have to. I think it's a rite of passage.
Yep. You gotta do all the things at least, one time. But then after you have the experience, remember, it's okay to say no.
It's okay to say no. But it was like you said, though, it was one of those situations. It was a friend of mine. They had reached out to him, and he was like, "Hey, you want to make a lot of money and have a good story?" And I was like, "What are we doing?" And he's like, "Post prom." And I went, "No, no." I said, "I'm an adult who does comedy for adults." And he's like,
actually, you just reminded me. I'm gonna finish your story. Sorry.
But that's okay. But then he was like, "But it's this much money," and I was like, yeah, I'm in. All right, I'll do it." And we all just went up and ate, just just ate a bag, and it was it was terrible, except for like the 15 kids that were like, "We all love stand-up comedy," and they were sitting up front having a blast, and then the rest of them were just like, when can we go back to playing the carnival games? And we're like,
yeah,
soon. Sorry.
And that just reminded me, I did do one other prom event, and it was because it was a last minute thing I got hit up for. And there's this producer who's pretty notorious for doing the old bait and switch where he sells a a company on an event on a comedian with lots of credits, and then last minute that comedian can't make the show, kind of thing. And has done this multiple times, like
Uh-huh.
notoriously does this. And I think in hindsight, I think that's what happened in this scenario, because that's why another comic, I got booked through another comic, not the booking agency, but he reached out and was like, hey, we had a fallout. His plane couldn't leave LA, yada, yada, yada. We need some extra, an extra comic. And they ended up booking me in another one. And it was a prom event. And it was like during COVID. So like they didn't even get a prom. They got like a dinner. It wasn't like we thought this was it was after their dance or before their dance after this that they were going to go to do prom. This was their prom event. And
Oh no.
man. And there was a of handful of kids that were into the show and or whatever, but most of the people there were like, what? Yeah, they didn't want this. And then the guy that closed out the show, he's half Asian, half white, and he made some jokes about being Asian, and one of the administrators was like getting nervous. And it wasn't even bad. He was just like talking about his like growing up, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it was wild. It was wild. And and now I will never do another prom event.
No.
I did it
But
twice. There will be no 3 times the charm.
no.
Unless I'm super, super, super famous and everybody knows me and I'm getting paid a lot of money. Because
Exactly.
there's a level where you get to a certain level of fame and you have so many fans, they don't care what you say. They're going to enjoy it because they just want to see you in person.
Yep.
It's like going to your favorite band kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm a long ways from that.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'm still doing the art of bombing after 8 years in my kitchen. My dining room studio.
Yeah, I have today. I'm in the what's known in Chicago as the French room.
Oh, the
It's
French
not,
room. Oh, is that
nope,
why you're
French.
getting off? Oh, French. French. Okay.
Yep. It's very specific. It's a very specific Chicago term.
You better be careful. You better be careful what you say about, Chicago and Chicago terms, because you don't know who's listening.
Very nice segue.
Thank you.
Okay, I mean, not heavy-handed at all. You slipped that right in.
I did. I was just like, boom,
Oh,
going
man.
for that.
Oh, that was like a cold speculum. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's yeah. So I did, that was one of the things that you guys talked about is the be aware because someone is always listening.
Yeah, and that's a very good like point too. Like
It's just a
easy,
point for life.
it's just life, and yeah, it's easy to like overlook and forget. Like even like you say who's listening, but it applies to like everything. Who's watching your social media, like the things like that, the things you're posting, and so on and so forth. And it goes a long ways into a lot of different things.
Yeah, and that's why people get they have beef with each other in comedy scenes because somebody says something that is, I don't know, just offhanded, not meaning to be mean-spirited,
Yeah,
but offhanded, and then somebody overhears it, and they talk to somebody else,
yeah,
and it gets back to the person, and by the time it gets back to that person, what you said was, I think they just had an off night. I should check on them and see if they're okay. When it gets
yeah.
back to them, they're like, Larry said that you suck at comedy and you should kill yourself.
Yep. It
That's
becomes that game of telephone.
yeah, and I think
Yep.
we've all experienced
Yeah.
that.
Well, and it's funny too because a lot of times those little beefs end up like when they do finally hash it out, they do realize it was like, well, that was a dumb reason to be mad at each other,
Yeah, yeah, and we've all seen it. I think we've, if not been involved with it, at least adjacent
Oh man,
to it.
there's people that have beef with me, so much beef with me. It's insane. Because some of the people that like have like will come at me with like their beef. Like I have no beef with them, and I'm just like, I don't know why they're like it's crazy. I'm like, why do you care what I'm doing? Like I don't care what you're doing. Like they
Right.
have the beef, but I'm just like, you're not even in my peripheral vision, buddy.
You're
Like,
Thanos
yeah,
looking at
I'm like,
Scarlet Witch, being like, I don't even know who you are.
yeah, exactly. I'm like, what? Why are you? What's going on here? I'm just trying
Yeah.
to do my own thing and do my comedy and try to help bring other people up. Like,
Yep. But not everybody wants to do that, or
yeah,
that's the other thing.
exactly.
There's people that will never believe that you're trying to do
Oh
good
yeah,
for other people
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
because their intent is not.
Hmm.
And if you are listening to this and you're like, I wonder if he's talking about me, maybe.
Great. Now more people are gonna have beef with me.
Maybe
You're starting feuds, Larry,
I
and you don't even know.
I know I love it. But no, but it's important to keep in mind. Be careful where you're talking and who you talk
Hmm.
to, because
Yep.
there are
And
people that are
what you say.
yeah,
You got
and
to
how
be
you
conscious
say it.
because at the end of the day, and this is just it goes across the board life. Words matter. They really do. Words
Yeah,
matter, and we often forget. Everybody has feelings. We all have feelings. You can say you don't have feelings. We all try to be tough and pretend we don't have feelings. Everybody has feelings.
yeah.
They did not everybody knows how to process them in the same way, and that's the other thing.
That's
People
why I
don't know.
drink.
Yeah, exactly. Same. And
Shove them
but
down.
yeah, but words matter. So be conscious of that
Yeah.
for sure. Well, this has been a great episode. A lot of great information here. Again, I hope you listen to the episode. If you listen to this by now and haven't listened to that, go back and listen to it. It was a great conversation. Morgan is a fantastic comedian. She's been killing it ever since she came into my. I mean, she was probably killing it before, but when she started popping up on my radar, I was just like, damn, she's good. And
Well, and
she's super funny, super nice.
she's got her podcast, My Body, My Jokes, and
Yep.
one Morgan, if you're listening to this, I'd love to do that because that is a topic near and dear to my heart. Because I've been featured in Huffington Post talking about this about body image stuff. So and I do jokes about my body dysmorphia, and I had a woman come up to me after a show and said, "You shouldn't body shame." And I was like, "Who did I body shame?" She goes, "Yourself." And I was like, "Nope, I can.
I
It's
can
my
talk
body.
about my own issues.
My body. I'm ashamed of it. I can do it."
It's my body. I can be ashamed of it if I want.
Exactly. Hey, do you have any shows coming up?
Yeah, I do actually. God dang, I don't know why my voice keeps doing this. Um, I have a show coming up at the end of May 31st, with our mutual friend Clay. Going to be doing a benefit show in Longmont. All the details are on my website,
Excellent.
danbublitz.com. What about you, Larry? What do you got coming up?
I've got on the 24th of May, I'll be in Nevis, Minnesota. On the 29th, I'll be in Webster, South Dakota. On the 31st, I'll be in Duluth, Minnesota. If you have a show somewhere on the 30th, somewhere between Webster, South Dakota and Duluth, Minnesota, I'll do it. I'll do that show on the 30th. Just let me know. At this point, it's getting desperate because nothing's working.
I might have
So
somebody you can reach out to. Actually, now that I think about it, I'll
okay,
tell you later.
okay, and then the 25th, sorry, the 25th of May, I'll be at the Lincoln Lodge here in Chicago. And then on June
Oh,
2nd, I'll be at Zany's Old Town here in Chicago. So, yeah,
applaud that. Yeah, that's great. Two big way to name drop some famous clubs.
yeah.
Mhm.
And then
I'm over
on,
here. I'm doing a benefit in Longmont. And some
hey, those
American
benefits are
Legion. No,
great
I
though.
know they are.
I do a
I'm just
lot.
being a silly. I'm just being a silly goose.
Oh, you silly
I'm
goose,
just a
you,
silly goose.
you, Bill.
Oh,
But hey,
now I'm gonna go talk crap on you. But
I
anyway.
know, please do. You and Clay have a lot on me. But June 5th, Dan, June 5th, I'm going to go. I'll be at the Davis Theater watching the release of Dogma.
Oh, fun, fun,
Yeah.
fun. It's funny. You're all prepared and I'm not. And my producer didn't tell me we were going to add this to the show.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Every week you ask me, and I'm like, I check out my social
I
media.
know, right? Yeah,
And
yeah.
so I was like, oh, I'm ready this week. And
And
this
then
week,
I'm just like, meh.
I don't know, man.
I-
Go to my.
Do
You're
I
doing the
even?
me.
I'm like, do I even do comedy anymore?
Uh, well, I caught you. I caught you on a bad day. That's what I did. But yeah, every week we've done this.
I know.
You're like, hey, buddy, you got any shows coming up? And I'm like, I don't. Maybe somewhere. And now it's ha, revenge.
Yeah, revenge.
Now we got beef.
We
Now
do
you and
have
I got beef.
We have beef. You're fired, Larry.
Ah, yeah. You can't fire me. I'm here all the time. I never leave this. I never leave the Zoom room. I'm always on.
I pop in here and you're still here. I'm like, hey, I
just
thought you had a
breathing
job.
heavy.
Yeah.
Hello, Dan.
Oh, that's funny. All right. Well, hey, if you haven't already, you should be following or subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. It is available everywhere. And if it is not, let us know. If you listen to podcasts on a particular app and we're not there, let us know. We'll help you find us. Make sure it'd be nice. We're really trying to, boost our listenership and get more people to hear this. One of the things you can do that'll help with that is give us a 5-star rating and leave a review. And I'll even challenge in the review, because I think you can leave reviews on Apple and Spotify. Leave the review and mention your favorite episode or your favorite guest, or even your guest bombing story. One of your favorite things that you've listened to in an episode. That would be great. Tell your friends about the podcast. Word of mouth is the best marketing. Tell everybody you're listening to The Art of Bombing, and that tell them what you've learned from listening to The Art of Bombing and how it's helped you. So maybe they'll want to come check it out. Do all the things. If you want to listen to this episode early and ad free, you can do that by hitting the support button right below. For $3 a month, you get all episodes early and ad-free. That's a pretty cheap deal there. It's like 3 cents a day or something. I don't know. I'm not good at math. I probably mathed that wrong. I'm probably going to get an email. Somebody's going to start a feud with me now because I was bad at math.
Yep.
They're be like, you
bad
did
at
not
math beef.
You did not divide that properly. And of course, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/artofbombingpod. You want to leave a tip, that's cool. Or buy some of our swag. That's really what I'd like. I would like you to tell your friends, and if you want to support the show financially, either subscribe for the $3 a month or go buy our swag, because that's what we're really about. Because we've been doing this for free for 8 years, and I'll keep doing it for free. That's not trying to make money doing this, but I would like more people to know about the podcast. And if you're wearing one of our cool shirts, conversation starter.
It's true. It's true. And the more we get subscribers, and if people are supporting the show financially, Dan can move his studio
from the living room,
from the dining room to the front room. He can get his own front room.
I can get my own front room. I mean, when I move to Chicago, I'll get my own front room.
He'll get his own front room, and that's where he'll be.
Yes, in my front room.
In his front room.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening. Until next time, have a great week.
See ya.
This has been a Tape Deck Media production. Thank you for listening.